The Judicial Subcommittee for the upcoming presidential elections in the Governorate of Idleb takes the legal oath. The Syrian Arab Army advances in Dara'a and eliminates terrorists of Saudi, Jordanian and Lebanese nationalities. Russia and China affirm their absolute rejection of the attempt to intervene in Syria's internal affairs through the use of force. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our news for today. Popular figures and unions and civil societies continue their national activities in support of the upcoming presidential elections in Syria and the Syrian Arab Army in its confrontation of terrorism. The participants in the marches in Damascus, Dar'a, Homs, Hama, Aleppo and Tartous hoisted the national flag and raised placards expressing national unity. They shouted slogans calling for effective participation in the upcoming presidential elections in a manner that reflects the Syrian people's will of steadfastness and desire to determine their own future away from foreign intervention. In preparation for the upcoming presidential elections in Syria, the propaganda campaigns of the three candidates, Dr. Maher Hajjar, Dr. Hassan al-Nouri and Dr. Bashar al-Assad, continue with marches, solidarity sit-ins and forums, during which placards and posters are distributed to acquaint the voters of the candidates' election programs. The campaigns also included field visits by some candidates to various areas for this purpose. Committees and follow-up teams are to be formed to present videos that involve the candidates' stands vis-à-vis national issues and citizens' main concerns, as the upcoming elections represent an important step in the life of the Syrians in light of the war their country has been exposed to. The political and media advisor at the presidency, Dr. Shaaban, said, "National reconciliation in Syria is the main correct solution for the Syrians because it expresses the public opinion and plants a feeling of satisfaction and confidence." In an interview with Al-Manar channel, Shaaban said, "National reconciliation would cause all the Syrians to come out winners, would lead Syria to security and peace, and would consolidate its dignified and noble role." Shaaban said, "The Syrians want to look forward, not backward," affirming that the upcoming presidential elections represent a constitutional step and a factor of strength for the state's establishment and role, as well as for citizens feeling that they are an effective partner in this state. The Judicial Subcommittee in the Governorate of Idleb has taken the legal oath preliminary to the upcoming presidential elections with the participation of the governor and the police commander. The participants stressed the importance of the upcoming presidential elections and the Syrians' right to choose their representative, marking this step as a sovereign decision. The participants pointed out that honesty and objectivity among the three candidates represent the core of the Judicial Committee's work. Military cameraman Hassan Omran, working for the Syrian Arab Army's political department, was killed by terrorists while he was carrying out his task in field battle coverage of the Syrian Arab Army's operations in Nawa, in Daraa countryside. Syrian Arab Army units inflicted heavy casualties among the terrorist groups on the axis of al-Mleha, Kafar Batna, killing many terrorists. namely Omar al-Qadi, a leader of a terrorist group, in addition to other terrorists from the so-called Islamic Union for Ajnad al-Sham, among whom there was the Saudi terrorist Muhammad Abdullah al-Salami in the farms of al-Nashabiyeh in the eastern Ghouta. Meanwhile, a number of terrorists were targeted in al-Mahatta neighborhood in al-Zabadani. Many non-Syrian terrorists have been killed, including the Saudi Sham al-Qahtani and the Lebanese Nizar Saad. In Aleppo and its countryside, units of the Syrian Arab Army continued their operations in the villages and towns of Al-Mansura, Al-Layramun, Ma'arit Artiq, Atarib, Haraitan, Mari'a, Kafarnaha, Khan al-Asal, Handarat, and the industrial city in Al-Sheikh Najjar. Military operations also continued in the neighborhoods of Al-Sukkari, Karm al-Maysar, Bani Zaid, Al-Sheikh Saeed, and Al-Rashidin, killing many terrorists and destroying their weapons. In Homs countryside, Syrian Arab Army units eliminated several terrorist gatherings in Taldouki, Sin, Ain Hussein, and Wadi al-Mira, south of Hassieh. In Dar'a countryside, Syrian Arab Army units have destroyed several hideouts for the terrorists, killing many of them and injuring others in a number of villages, foiling their infiltration attempts into these secure areas. A military source said that units of the Syrian Arab Army targeted the terrorist gatherings near al-Dirj, Khazan, Sile, Atman, and al-Bajabija neighborhood. Syrian Arab Army units also destroyed hideouts for some terrorist groups that call themselves Ahrar al-Sham in Da'il in Dara'a countryside. Earlier, Syrian Arab Army units had maintained control in the neighborhood of the Sijn al-Qadime in the countryside of the city and rid it of the terrorists, killing many of them, including non-Syrians. In Idleb, Syrian Arab Army units have targeted a den used by the terrorists near Al-Hila town and killed many of them, among them the Libyan Mus'ab al-Hamdouni, leader of the terrorist group. Moreover, and in cooperation with the locals, the competent authorities seized huge quantities of smuggled medicines. Most of them were Turkish-made. Russian President Vladimir Putin and his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping voiced their two countries' absolute rejection of any attempt to intervene in Syria's internal affairs through force. In a statement released at the conclusion of their talks in Shanghai city, both presidents underlined the necessity of maintaining stable international relations and global peace and security, settling crises and disputes, combating terrorism and crime, and eliminating weapons of mass destruction. Putin and Xi Jinping called upon other states to stop funding or supporting activities that aim to change the constitution of any state or to push it to forge alliances or multi-party unions. Economically, Putin and Xi Jinping highlighted the necessity of boosting their trade relations to realize qualitative development. Finally, the German Der Spiegel magazine said Turkish Prime Minister Recep Tayyip Erdogan has started to lose his grip over Turkey following scandals of corruption that have shaken his government and the mounting popular discontent and the protests witnessed lately. In an article that sheds light on the corruption practices by Erdogan's government and the covert connections of members of his cabinet with the mining sector, Der Spiegel said the wave of anger in various parts of Turkey have gained momentum after Erdogan's strenuous attempts to hush up the voice of the opposition and to crack down on protesters. With this, we end our news for today. Thank you for watching. For more details about Syria and the region and to view this bulletin again, you can always visit our website in English, syriaonline.sy. Now to latest, this is not market news with Nariman Qassam, but after a short break.